East versus West 10 is just 6 days away. John versus Sasho, Todd versus Kydyrgali, and Devon versus Denis. Here are my thoughts. Before I get into that, the Monster Factory's going through some changes, so today's going to have a little bit different backdrop than you're used to. And there you have it, guys. We took out the wall, opened it up to Monster Factory 2.0. The expansion is going great. We're just a few weeks away from this thing being completely done. But now let's get to my predictions. All right, so we're going to get started with John versus Sasho. First off, how amazing is it that 59-year-old John Brzenk has a chance at being the #1 in the world in a weight category, 209 pounds. It's crazy that he's even going to make this class, but if you look at him at 100 kg, he's got abs, he looks great. But John's one of the guys that loves a challenge. So Sasho is a freak inside. That short lever. So here's the deal. I'm not 100% sure John can beat him if he goes inside. Now, what I do believe will happen, if John beats him twice outside, taking the hand, controlling it, he will test himself out inside. I don't think he goes there first. I think he takes the hand. The short lever of Sasho, I believe they go into hook, puts John underneath him. Now, John's pronation, back pressure, incredible hand strength. I think John's still got to be the favorite, even at 209. And a lot of this goes down to seeing how close Paul Lynn was to beat Sasho. Now, the Paul Lynn that exists right now, how would John fare against him? John beat him like maybe a year or two ago. Paul Lynn's very impressive. But in going to this match, I think John Brzenk is a 3-1 favorite. I think he's 75-25. 75% John Brzenk's going to come out and win this thing. Now, if John wins the first 2 rounds, it does test it out in the hook and ends up in a grinder and loses, is it possible that Sasho comes back and gets those other 2 matches because John's no longer able to pronate out of his hand? I think it's possible. Now, I mean, these are all just predictions. These are just my best guess from years of experience in watching arm wrestling and seeing these guys compete. Who knows? Maybe Sasho gets in there and just smacks him 3 times. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a very small chance that something like that can happen. If John's shoulder holds up, he's got the stem cells, he's healing, he's strong, he feels confident, he looks confident. I'm super excited to watch this match. John Brzenk is probably all of our heroes, right? He's amazing. Yeah, man, that's going to be a good one. All right, so the next match that we're going to talk about in this video is Kydyrgali Ongarbaev versus Todd Hutchings for the 105 kg world title, light heavyweight world championship of East versus West. Obviously, I have some experience with these guys. I beat Todd Hutchings 3-1. I lost to Kydyrgali 3-1. And a lot of people out there, you saw Devon say the worst arm wrestler in Todd Hutchings versus the best arm wrestler in Kydyrgali or something similar to that. I honestly think Todd's going to win. Like, I genuinely think Todd's going to win. I don't think Todd cares so much about his hand. And the people who have not pulled Todd Hutchings think he's all side pressure. The reason, in my opinion, his side pressure is so powerful is because he's got back pressure engaged. So when he gets you to his side of the table, it's not a transition around and get behind it because he's got so much back pressure. He's pulling you that way. Kydyrgali might crack his wrist, but I think Todd's okay with that. And I think Todd's improved pronation. We saw it against John. He was even cracking John's wrist with his wrist slightly back. Now, the match with John Brzenk, Todd Hutchings, I don't think is the direct indicator of where Todd Hutchings is currently at, because I think that match may have went that way the last 5 or 6 years had they ran that match, just because they have so much experience with each other. And Todd's so strong in those areas. That kind of negates where John's strong at. Kydyrgali is a very well-rounded, maybe the best pound-for-pound arm wrestler in the world. Maybe one of the most technical, well, not maybe, definitely one of the most technical arm wrestlers on the planet. Possibly in the conversation for the most technical. He's a phenomenal athlete. But Todd Hutchings is just different. I think it's a 60-40, in my opinion. Todd's going to win. Kydyrgali could do it. Kydyrgali could flash him. I have no idea. But pulling Kydyrgali, I might have been healthier when I pulled Todd than I did when I pulled Kydyrgali, so that may have played a role. I might have felt more confident because I was doing it here versus flying across the ocean and doing it over to Istanbul. But Todd felt really strong. He just happens to be vulnerable to my like no load hard shoulder press. Like that's a move for me that works well against Todd. That was not a move that I had access to against Kydyrgali. I don't think Todd's going to need anything like that. And, Todd doesn't have a really dominant press. So I don't think it's going to matter anyway. I think he's going to set up. He's going to do better than I did as far as not letting so much of it get away from me in the setup. I'm trying to get better at protecting myself in the setup and not giving so much away. I think Todd's going to do just that. I think he's going to make sure he gets a good, even, fair setup. I think he's going to be very patient, cerebral in his approach, and I think it's going to come down to raw horsepower. And I believe if Todd wins, once Todd wins one round, I think his confidence goes through the roof. I don't think it's necessarily going to take anything off Kydyrgali. I don't think it's going to affect his confidence, but I think the extra confidence that Todd will have after he pins Kydyrgali one time will be enough for him to take the title. Super excited to watch this match. I don't know what implications that will have moving forward. If Devon, goes down to 105, will Ingen pull a West versus West match for the World Championship? Todd Hutchings versus Devon Larratt? Maybe, probably so, because it is Canada versus U.S. versus two U.S. guys pulling. But who knows, man? I don't know. I still say 60-40 Todd Hutchings comes out on top. Huge fan of Kydyrgali. He's awesome. I'd love to run both those matches back for me personally. Not 100% sure I can make that weight category, but I'm excited about what's to come. There you go, Todd Hutchings, 60-40. All right, here we go. The final match of East versus West 10 for the super heavyweight championship of the world. Devon No Limits Larratt versus Denis Cyplenkov. Man, I like Denis a lot. I'm a big fan of Denis Cyplenkov. I'm happy to see him back in competition, looking good. He looked great against John Brzenk. This is just a tough match. We don't really, watching Devon do what he did to Hermes makes you think he's from another planet, right? But I do believe he got into Hermes' head because it did not look like Hermes at the table. It didn't look like the same Hermes, the same fire that we've seen. And Devon's mind games are as good as they come. So I do believe that he got into Hermes' head that last 24 hours going into the match. So did that have a big effect? Did that play a big role? Maybe. We've also saw Hermes not do well against a long lever when he pulled out Skrdecha. So I think there's several things that happen there. So how do you make a prediction based on that as to how Devon's going to pull against Denis? Devon's way more versatile. Devon's way more versatile than Denis. The power gap, I don't think, is significant. I think even though Devon appears to be light, you never know if he's actually weighing that weight or if he's just trolling us and he's probably 320 pounds. I have no idea. He does look super lean. So I don't see how, now I said this against Gennady, I don't see how Denis could have a plan of beating Devon in endurance. He does have a pretty sticky open top row Kings move, right? You see Denis using that a lot. We've recently seen some practice footage of him being closer, controlling center. I have not been following any of the back and forth trash talk drama. I've had a few people tell me it's getting a little crazy. So I don't know how all that's going to go. Rebecca, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, Devon's going to win?
Yeah.
3-0?
He's going to win in, I believe, a dominant fashion.
See, that's the thing. I think he's going to win in a dominant fashion. I don't know. Denis can still pull this off. Denis might could win 3-0. I don't think he's going to. Denis might could win 3-1, 3-2. But I don't think he's going to. This is another one. And this is crazy to say this because it is Denis Cyplenkov. I think it's 75% chance Devon wins. I think it's 3-1. Same thing as John versus Sasho. I think 75% chance Devon wins, 25% chance Denis wins. Obviously, two people I'm very interested in pulling at some point, So what happens if Denis wins and I have a good, successful comeback at East versus West 11? Is that a potential match down the road? What happens if Devon wins? Does Devon cut to 105 and pull the winner, Todd Hutchings versus Kydyrgali Ongarbaev? Or what? Like, I don't know, man. There's so many interesting things happening in the landscape of arm wrestling right now. And more people know about what we're doing. I think the sport's growing. I think it might very well be at its peak. And Devon's at the forefront. And he's got 2 titles right now. He's going to defend the super heavyweight. That's his plan. I mean, I don't know if he's serious about going to 105. I mean, I'm sure he can make it. He's a very disciplined athlete. Denis Cyplenkov, man. It would be cool to see him pulled off, coming back after, everything he's been through, to see him pull this thing off. But if I'm a betting guy, I got to bet on Devon. I mean, I feel like Devon's going to win.
You were saying after everything he's been through, being able to pull this off? Is this anything you're attaching emotions to? Self-processing?
Okay, so we just watched Rogue Invitation. We watched Tia Claire Toomey come back, 5 months after giving birth, right? And according to you, it takes 12 months for the female body to come back.
Not according to me, it's according to science.
According to science, just information I was not aware of. And she was so close to winning the Rogue Invitational. She lost by 10 points. So did she lose or did she beat 18 other the fittest people on earth, right? But I associated watching her lose kind of affected me because it came to that final event because I'm so invested in this comeback of mine, this second chance that I've been given. So am I emotionally attached to Denis being able to pull it off after coming back after everything he went through? Yes. Because I think I'm going to write the same story. I think I'm going to come back and do some impressive stuff. It's got a lot of work. I'm not there yet. I still got a lot of work to do. But I like to see that comeback story. I like to, I don't know. But then you got, Devon had a comeback story. When he pulled me, he was coming back. And then ever since then, he's kind of had this awesome rise. He had the hiccup with Gennady, but look what he just did to Hermes. So the Devon story is equally as inspirational. I don't know, man. I'll be watching, right? For you guys that don't know, I was supposed to be at East versus West to commentate. Not the right place right now. I'm going to stay as close to home as I can. I want to say thank you to all the people who have sent their condolences. Tough times right now, but I'll still be watching. I'm going to do another video with Zara versus Georgie and Sarah versus Ekle and some of the other matches on the card. But I wanted to get this out. Who do you guys think is going to win? I mean, am I right on my predictions? Do you completely disagree? Comment down below what you think.